There's a certain kind of sports fan that gets built in Chicago. Not the kind that bandwagons when things are good, the kind that keeps showing up year after year, even after getting their heart ripped out in the most painful, spectacular, gut-wrenching ways imaginable. If you're a Chicago fan, you don't just watch sports. You survive them. These are the 5 most heartbreaking moments in Chicago sports history. And if you've lived through any of these, you already know exactly how much this is going to hurt. Chicago is one of the greatest sports cities in America. 4 major teams, a passionate fan base, and a history that stretches back over a century. But alongside the championships and the glory moments, there's another history, a darker one, a history of heartbreak so specific and so painful that it's almost become part of the city's identity. Cubs fans, Bears fans, Bulls fans, Blackhawks fans, we've all felt it. That moment where everything is right there, and then it's gone. Today we're counting down the 5 moments that define that pain. Let's get into it. We start at number 5, with a moment so uniquely painful that it has its own nickname. January 6th, 2019. The Chicago Bears are hosting the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC wildcard game at Soldier Field. The Bears have had a legitimately good season. They finished 12-4, won the NFC North, and for the first time in years, Chicago fans actually believe this team could make a run. With just over 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter, the Bears are trailing by 2 points. Kicker Cody Parky steps up for a 43-yard field goal. If it goes through, the Bears win. The season continues. Everything is right there. The snap is good. The hold is good. Parky kicks it. The ball sails toward the uprights, and then it hits the left upright, bounces to the crossbar, and falls incomplete. Double Doink, 2 bounces, a season over. Soldier Field goes silent. The entire city of Chicago collectively loses its mind. What made it even more brutal was that Parky had already been struggling with his accuracy that season. Bears fans had been nervous about him for weeks. And in the biggest moment of the year, their worst fears came true in the most dramatic way possible. Parky was released by the Bears shortly after. He never kicked in the NFL again, but the double doink, that lives forever. Every Bears fan who was watching that game can tell you exactly where they were when it happened. That's the kind of moment this is. In the 2010 to 2011 season, Derrick Rose was absolutely electric, playing with a confidence and athleticism that hadn't been seen in Chicago since the Jordan era. Rose won the NBA MVP award at just 22 years old, the youngest player in league history to do so. The Bulls finished with the best record in the NBA. Chicago was electric. Fans genuinely believed this was the beginning of something special, a dynasty in the making. Then came April 28th, 2012. The Bulls are playing the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round of the playoffs. The game is well in hand. Chicago's up big late in the fourth quarter. With under 2 minutes left, Rose drives to the basket, lands awkwardly, and grabs his knee. Torn ACL, the entire arena went quiet. Players from both teams looked shaken. Everyone in Chicago knew immediately. Something had just changed. And they were right. Rose missed the entire following season. When he came back, he wasn't the same. More injuries followed. The Bulls made roster decisions that didn't work out. The supporting cast that could have built around a healthy prime Derrick Rose was slowly dismantled. By the time Rose was traded to the New York Knicks in 2016, the window had completely closed. What should have been a championship era, maybe multiple championships, turned into one of the greatest unfulfilled promises in NBA history. Chicago fans still wonder what could have been, and honestly, they're right to wonder. Number 3, and this one stings because of what it represented, not just a loss, but the beginning of the end of something truly special. Between 2010 and 2015, the Chicago Blackhawks won 3 Stanley Cups, 3 championships in 6 years. Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, Duncan Keith, Corey Crawford. This was a dynasty by any definition of the word. Chicago fell in love with hockey in a way the city hadn't seen in decades. The United Center was electric every single night. The Blackhawks were must-watch television. Then came the 2015 Western Conference Finals against the Anaheim Ducks. Chicago won Games 1 and 2, lost Games 3 and 4, won Game 5, lost Game 6. It all came down to a Game 7 at the United Center, in front of a home crowd that was absolutely ready to send their team to the Stanley Cup Final. The game went to overtime, and in overtime, the Ducks scored. Series over. In isolation, a Game 7 overtime loss is just a tough break, but in hindsight, it was so much more than that. The core was aging, the salary cap was squeezing the roster. Within 2 seasons, the team that had dominated the NHL was being rebuilt from scratch. Kane and Taves are still in the league, but the dynasty is long gone. That overtime goal in Game 7 wasn't just the end of a series, it was the last real chance at another cup for one of the greatest teams this city has ever seen. Number 2. You knew this was coming. October 14th, 2003. Game 6 of the National League Championship Series. Cubs versus the Florida Marlins. Chicago is leading the series 3-2. They are 5 outs away from the World Series. Their first appearance since 1945. 58 years of waiting. The entire city of Chicago is holding its breath. Cubs pitcher Mark Prior is dealing. He's been dominant. The Cubs are leading 3-0 in the 8th inning. Everything is going according to plan. Then Marlins second baseman Luis Castillo hits a foul ball down the left field line. Cubs outfielder Moises Alou is drifting toward the stands to make the catch. And then several fans reach for the ball. One of them, a 26-year-old Cubs fan named Steve Bartman, deflects it away from Alou. No catch. The inning continues. What followed was one of the most stunning collapses in baseball history. The Marlins scored 8 runs in the inning. The Cubs lost Game 6. They lost Game 7 the next night. The World Series appearance that had been 5 outs away was gone. Steve Bartman became the most famous fan in baseball history for all the wrong reasons. He had to be escorted out of Wrigley Field for his own safety. He went into hiding for years. He never asked for any of it. He was just a fan reaching for a foul ball like dozens of others around him. The Cubs wouldn't reach the World Series for another 13 years. When they finally won in 2016, the city went absolutely crazy. But for Cubs fans of a certain generation, the ones who were in Wrigley that night or watching at home, October 14th, 2003 is a date that will never leave them. And our number 1 most heartbreaking Chicago sports moment isn't a moment at all. It's a 40-year ongoing nightmare that Bears fans live with every single day. January 26th, 1986. The Chicago Bears defeat the New England Patriots 46-10 in Super Bowl 20. Jim McMahon is the quarterback. The '85 Bears are widely considered one of the greatest teams in NFL history. Chicago is on top of the world. And then, nothing. For 40 years, the Bears have not found a franchise quarterback. Not one. In that same stretch of time, the San Francisco 49ers had Joe Montana and Steve Young back-to-back. The New England Patriots had Tom Brady for 2 decades. The Kansas City Chiefs found Patrick Mahomes. The Buffalo Bills have Josh Allen. The Baltimore Ravens have Lamar Jackson. The Bears, they've cycled through over 30 starting quarterbacks since McMahon. 30. Some were journeymen. Some were promising prospects who never developed. Some were veterans brought in for one last shot. None of them worked. Jim Harbaugh chose Michigan over Chicago. Jay Cutler had the talent, but never the results. Mitchell Trubisky was the wrong pick at the wrong time. Justin Fields showed flashes but couldn't stay healthy and was ultimately traded. Every single offseason, Bears fans go through the same cycle. Hope, excitement, disappointment, repeat. It has become as reliable as the changing of the seasons. Caleb Williams is the latest answer. The number 1 overall pick in the 2024 draft. Generational talent. The most hyped Bears quarterback prospect in decades. And Bears fans want to believe they really do. But 40 years of history has taught this fan base one very hard lesson. Hope is the most dangerous thing of all. That's our list. 5 moments, 5 gut punches, a lifetime of Chicago sports pain. Drop the moment that hurt you the most in the comments. We read every single one. And if you're a Chicago fan who keeps coming back no matter what, hit subscribe. New videos every single week right here at Chicago Sports Vault. We'll see you next time.